We're going to get started here. It's 5:30. And just to, let me just kind of briefly introduce myself, my firm, very briefly. My name is Curtis Edmark. I'm one of the principal members of the firm, Pioneer Financial Group. We are located in Racine, although we do a lot of work up here in the south part of Milwaukee County. I entered the business, the financial services industry, in the year 1986. I was 10 at the time. Just joking. I wish, right? So I'm in my 28th year in the business. Now, our other principal member, his name is Paul Omick. He had another meeting to attend. Now, he's not here. He's in his 27th year. And then besides the two of us, you see the three assistants of ours in the back. That's Carol with the video camera. And then next to her is the young lady, Elena. And then finally we have Sarah. And if you want to know what the relationships are, how everything works, Paul, my business partner, is also my brother-in-law. Carol is his sister, so that's my wife, Carol. My wife for 28 years. And then Elena is our daughter. Sarah's the only non-family member of our firm, so you could kind of say we're a mom and pop shop. Just four things real quick before we get going. First of all, you want to know how long the meeting's going to last. It's 5:30 now. We will be done no later than 7 p.m. because that's how long we have this meeting room allotted to us by the library. Secondly, if you happen to have a cell phone on you, if you wouldn't mind checking to make sure it's on silent or vibrate, that would be greatly appreciated. Third, if you need to use the restroom during the meeting, no problem. They're located right in the back of this meeting room. And last but not least, in fact, this might be the most significant. The interesting thing about knowledge is, and I think you'll appreciate what I'm about to say, folks, oftentimes when we gain knowledge about something or we learn something about something, while it may answer some questions we had, it creates other questions that we didn't have before. But now that we know more about it, it raises new questions. And so there's no question in my mind that tonight as we go through this information, that's what's going to happen. Some of your questions will be answered, but perhaps new questions will be created. And you're going to want to know how those questions pertain to you. Now the thing is, we have about 25 or 30 of us here tonight, so we don't have the time to turn this into a question and answer session. So what I'm going to ask that you do, don't lose the questions. Please write them down in your notes, and then later on I'll address this a little bit more later. But after the meeting is over, we'll explain if you have questions pertaining to your situation. What we're willing to do as a commitment to the people here in Milwaukee is to schedule a free, no-obligation consultation where all of your questions can be answered, and we can even do a free, personalized report analysis on how to maximize your Social Security benefits. So we'll explain more about that later, but in the meantime, if you do have questions, please write them down, and we'll be happy to address them at another time. So without any further ado, it's time to get started. When your parents and my parents, when they first qualified for Social Security, chances are they didn't ask a whole lot of questions about it. They simply went down to the local office when they were 65, maybe 62, and they filed for their benefits. Today, with baby boomers, as you approach Social Security age, whole different ballgame. You have a lot of questions pertaining to Social Security, such as, number one, will Social Security be there for me? How many has anybody here been concerned about that with what you've heard? And no doubt why, because you've heard horror stories about the fund going broke. We'll tackle that question head on. Secondly, how much can I expect to receive? When you retire, you still have to set a budget, so you have to make sure you have enough income to cover your expenses. That's an important question. Third, when should I apply for Social Security? Because as many of you know, when you apply does affect your benefits. Fourth, how can I maximize my benefits? Which is another question I would think our parents never asked. But there's nothing wrong with learning the rules to our benefit. We'll talk about that. And then last but not least, will Social Security be enough to live on in retirement? My guess is of all those questions, that's probably the easiest one to answer. So who here thinks it's going to be enough to live on? See, most of us realize that. And so we'll address that. But before we begin answering those questions, what we first of all want to do is establish what is the value of Social Security. Because some people tend to minimize its value. What Social Security is, folks, it's an income you cannot outlive. In other words, it's an income for life. And you could preface that by saying a guaranteed income for life. Now, why is that so important in this day and age, do you think? Any thoughts? Anyone? Just speak out. You don't have to raise your hand.
Well, more and more companies are going from traditional pension plans to lump sums or putting money in 401ks, so you have a fixed amount of savings
Right.
you can rely on. That's pretty scary. You don't know how long you have.
Exactly. And you know, when you talk about the other vehicles out there that are designed to provide, other assets that are designed to provide income, just think of the financial situation we're in today. Would you describe our financial markets in recent years as being stable? No, right? It's been a roller coaster, right? And so here are these assets, they can appreciate and depreciate. So now if you're relying upon an asset that can either appreciate or depreciate, and you're drawing income from that, could you ever say that that income is guaranteed? No, because it can go down, it can depreciate. So it's not a guaranteed income. What's more, if you're drawing on that asset while it's depreciating, what's going to happen sooner rather than later? What will happen to that money?
Nothing left.
You run out of your money, right? So therefore, it's not an income for life. So sometimes people look at that and think, okay, well, I'm going to learn from those mistakes. I'm not going to draw income from an asset that can depreciate. So they look at things that are guaranteed. So now if you're drawing income from sources that are guaranteed, what problem do you run into there? I'm talking at the bank, or if you're buying government bonds. What's the problem with those vehicles today?
No return.
Nobody pays interest, right? 12 or 13 years ago, if you had been fortunate enough to scrape together $250,000 or $300,000 towards your retirement, and then you walked into a bank or bought government bonds with that money, you could generate 6 to 7% interest. And so you could draw $15,000 to $20,000 of guaranteed income from those guaranteed vehicles. Now today, if you walk into that same bank and want to draw $15,000 to $20,000 of interest, how much does it take today to generate that? Anybody? What do you think?
Couple mil.
About $1 million. Rates are under 2%, so about $1 million to generate $15,000 to $20,000. So now, if all you had was the $250,000 or $300,000, although that's a lot of money, and you're getting $4,000 to $6,000 of interest, if you continue to take $10,000, $15,000 or $20,000 from it, what's happening to that money? It's depreciating, right? And if you live long enough, it runs out. And so that's why Social Security is so unique, because it truly does offer a guaranteed income for life. In fact, other than Social Security, folks, where else can you get a guaranteed income for life? What other sources might provide that? Well, that's what Social Security... Any other thoughts? What sources may provide a guaranteed income for life? Some of you probably have one. Pensions, certain types of annuities might, that's it. Social Security, pensions, and certain, that's all that will today provide a guaranteed income you can't outlive. And just to get into the dollars and cents of it, if your monthly benefit is $2,000 today, and you live 10 more years, you will have drawn $304,000 of income, just in 10 years. 20 years, $673,000, and if you're fortunate enough to live in 30 more years, live into your 90s, $1.1 million. And just so we understand this, chances are, with the amount of people we have here tonight, some of you likely will live into your 90s, statistically speaking. In fact, right now I have 5 or 6 clients who have a parent